Welcome to Remember Me by Intervivos, the show about living life to its fullest, leaving a legacy, and deciding how you will be remembered. And now, your humble team of expert planners taking the legal world by storm.
Hi, welcome to Remember Me. This is Glenn Wagstaff. I'm here with Mike Black in the studio, and we have a special guest today. But before we get to that, it's been interesting the last couple days. We've had some big news that I'm sure a lot of people have heard about already, but it's all related to higher education. And so even before we knew that this was going to come out, we planned on talking about higher education today. And one of the biggest things that, as a parent, that we plan for our children to leave as a legacy is a legacy of education, right? To help them to get educated and be able to be in a position to have a better lifestyle in the future. And so, over the last couple of days, news has come out of the largest fraud in the higher education system that's been perpetrated ever. That I guess this company that was formed with the intention of helping wealthy individuals, celebrities and so forth that had children that wanted to get into colleges, specific colleges, to help them to do so. And the way they were doing it was by bribing college officials and falsifying documents, and then running the money that was used for the bribes through a false nonprofit. And so pretty crazy how this type of fraud can be perpetrated on such a large scale and with such high profile people involved. Mike, I know you've looked into this over the last the last day or so. Have we heard it on the news and looked into some of the articles? But what are your thoughts as we just kind of consider the scope of the news that's kind of come out?
Well, to me, it seems like the parents are trying to, like you said, bypass the system because the kids really can't make it on their own. And, Gary and I talked about this morning about how it was when I was a kid and trying to go to school. College was for the wealthy. And if you either had to have a benefactor that would let you get into college, paid your way or whatever. And I know that happened before. But, for me, I was told you save enough money, you get into college, you work through college, and you can graduate, which is basically what I did. There's a long story on that. But with these people trying to get their kids in, it seems to me like they're trying to get them in without the kids actually meeting the standards.
Right. And that's one of the concerning things. The other concerning thing is, on what scale this happened with several universities, several high-profile people. And it's just amazing that how much money was passed around there, too. Yeah. And you think about, how much college costs nowadays, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars just to guarantee that somebody even gets in, right? Crazy. So, last week we talked about parents and their role in managing their children's funds and kind of, their role in being a fiduciary and in helping their children to get ahead while they're minors. And this week we wanted to talk about, their role in helping their children to have a legacy of education and to be able to go get into higher education and so on and so forth, save for higher education and help them to prepare for that. And really kind of consider their role in that. So today we have a special guest that's joining us. There's a lot of companies that are maybe now that we've heard this news, right, fly-by-night companies that are out there, and then there are legitimate organizations that are there to help people to help their kids get into college and to plan ahead to get into that. And one of those organizations is the Heartland Institute of Financial Education. It's a nonprofit, and their focus is in helping families to prepare for their kids to be able to get into college and to be able to afford college. And so we have Desiree Abad, who's joining us today, and she works out of the Encino area in Southern California. Desiree, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Hello, everyone. Thank you for inviting me.
Awesome. We're excited to have you on, and definitely want to hear a little bit about what you guys do at the Heartland Institute. But let's get into a little bit of, we were just talking about this news that came out, and just mind blowing, the amount of money that's involved there. But tell us a little bit about, currently, how much is the average student paying for college? Like, how much money are students coming out in terms of, college debt that's out there in the U.S.?
Absolutely. So that's definitely one of the concerns that we try to address and educate, of course, families, parents. As of 2018, there's an article in Forbes that came out that we reached an all-time high of about $1.5 trillion in student loan debt, which is about the second highest consumer loan category next to mortgage. But it's much more than credit card and car loans combined. So that's a lot of zeros.
It's at the beginning of their working lives, right? It's even before they start their careers that they're coming out with this level of debt.
Absolutely. So that's what I always fear for my own kids. Imagine how you would have felt. You're in school more than 16 years of your life. You're ready to conquer the world, right? To find a great job in the career or industry that you want to get in. But there's no guarantee that you'll find a job. And then you have this. It's an average of about $36,000 to $40,000 per student, the average loan that they start with, as like you said, early in their career, in their life, in an adult life.
So I had the opportunity to go to a law school that was fairly affordable in comparison, right? But a lot of law school graduates and attorneys that I've met with come out with a couple $100,000 in student loan debt when they graduate. And one of the questions I guess would be, when you come out with that much debt, what does it do for the rest of your financial life? I know that you're involved in, financial planning in general. What's it do to them when they have to come out with that much debt starting out in their lives? Well,
I'm actually, that's a great question because I have a real life kind of case scenario. One of the school parents that I am, in school with, my co-parents, he's an associate lawyer. He has about 3 kids right now. I don't exactly know how he felt at the start of his career because I met him like 2-3 years ago. But, we were in a conversation about he really wants to prepare and start saving for the kids' college. They're pretty young. They're probably 3, 5, and then a 9-year-old, all girls. And, the only thing that's holding him back from starting this savings planning for his kids is he has about $90,000 in student loans. I'm sure I can see how successful he is right now, but having that $90,000 in student loans is still, you can't have a peaceful sleep at night and really get into something, for the future until you address that.
And that's years after graduating, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a huge kind of burden. So obviously there's a lot of incentive for parents to want to help their kids to be able to get an education, but also to avoid that kind of debt. And we want to get into, as an organization, what you guys do to help with that. But before we do that, I think this is an area that's very compelling that a lot of people are affected by. But what got you into it?
So a brief introduction about myself. I actually migrated to the United States a little bit over 20 years ago after working a few months right after I finished my college in the Philippines. So I moved here, and then for the past 10 years, I've already delved into tax and financial services. That's the career I'm building. And basically, as an immigrant myself, I always tell my friends, everybody, even though no matter how well educated we are in our own countries, and I'm proud to say I believe I went to one of the best universities in the Philippines. The college preparation process here in the United States is a totally different ballgame. Like you guys already know, it's very, very competitive. Having good grades is not enough to guarantee you a spot in those, universities. There's just a lot of bright students, very, very smart students. So you kind of have to show something else for you to be taken. Universities here are brand names for life, that when they take you, they expect that you carry that symbol, that name. and you protect it. So it's very hard to get in those universities. So being a full-time mom, I always like to say I'm a full-time mom. I have 2 kids. I have a 9-year-old son and a 6-year-old daughter. One of my top goals is to provide student loan-free college education for the 2 of them. And as you've already heard, I just don't want them to be part of the statistic. It's a very simple goal, but it's very expensive because college has, it's projected to be actually the inflation rate for college education is about 5% every year. So imagine my kids are still young. By the time that they're ready to go to college, my hope is I'm prepared. I've already at least been well informed, for the strategies, the resources available out there, like our nonprofit, organization, the Heartland Institute, those professional college coaches that are available to really assist not only the students but the parents as well.
Definitely. So we're gonna break just for a couple seconds here, and when we come back, we'll hear more from Desiree Abad from the Heartland Institute of Financial Education and helping parents to plan for college. This is Remember Me. We'll see you in a little bit.
America is built and based on liberties and freedoms. Liberty HealthShare brings that to healthcare. The liberty of choosing your own doctor. The liberty of choosing your own hospital. Liberty HealthShare makes healthcare affordable to millions of Americans. Ignite your liberty. Sharing plans starting at $199 for a single, $399 for a couple, and no matter how big the family, only $529. That's $529 for the entire family. To learn how you can save, go to lightyourliberty.com. That's lightyourliberty.com.
Welcome back to Remember Me, the show where we talk about leaving a legacy, planning for your future, and deciding how you will be remembered. Today we're talking about college planning, and specifically as parents, a lot of times one of the biggest legacies that we can leave, that a lot of families intend to leave, is helping their children to get a strong education and set them on the right course for their lives. But if they come out of college with hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, a lot of times it's a struggle. And so we're talking with Desiree Abad, who's certified. Desiree, what's your official title? Certified coach?
Consultant.
Certified consultant with the Heartland Institute of Financial Education, which is a nonprofit organization that helps families to prepare for their kids to be able to go to college. And Desiree was just sharing with us her story of how she got involved with helping families with college planning. So, Desiree, if somebody, as we're talking here, has, and of course, everything that we talk about is not advice for your specific situation. We advise you to sit down with a professional to get your individual questions answered. But if somebody wants to get a hold of you and to be able to discuss these sort of things more, how would they get a hold of you, Desiree?
Oh, sure. You can definitely reach me at my cell phone, which is area code 323-899-9337. And again, that's 323-899-9337. And we can connect you to the local consultants available in your state. Keep in mind it's a nationwide college coaching program all over the U.S. We even have it in Canada. And actually, they have the international college coaching program as well for immigrants who would like to pursue higher education in the United States.
So, Desiree, let's talk a little bit about what does the college coaching program actually consist of?
So let me get back a little bit, though. For college planning, so there's two, I always like to educate my parents, two ways. If the kids are younger, right before high school, we discuss more about the college funding strategies. So the college coaching program with Heartland is mainly geared for 8th graders, second semester. That's the minimum age requirement, and above. No maximum age. So, any adults wanting to pursue college, again, they're welcome to actually enroll in the program. So it basically entails, in a nutshell, The program helping, or the college coaches helping the family by educating the parents and the students side by side, helping them identify the right major based on the individual students' interests, skills, and work values from assessments that they take, the right major, the right college for that major, with the right reason, and of course, very important, with the right funding to pursue that higher education.
So, Desiree, what kind of things can parents do to prepare their kids for themselves and their kids, for them to have a better chance of getting into college and having a better financial situation when they get in there?
So I always say it's never too early. There's never a time limit or timeline for saving for college. As soon as a baby's born, we always joke around with a social security number. It's time to start preparing for college, putting away $50, $100 a month, $1,000 a year from your tax refund. That's always what I suggest to my clients. Dump it in, forget about it, let it accumulate, because obviously to build enough savings for college and for wealth in general, you need to start with some money. But the value, the ally of having a lot of time for the money to grow, finding a good rate of return, where that you could earn for that savings, and of course factoring in inflation and the taxes. That's how you basically build your wealth. So you have to consider all of that. And the earlier you start, if you start saving at as early as 0 or 3, you're able to put away $100 a month, for example. In about 15 years, when your kids are ready to go to college, you've put away $18,000 contributed to the account. And again, you haven't even factored in the interest rate that you've earned for that, as opposed to starting later. Like if you start at 13 years old, you barely have 5 years left, if you are banking on that savings to get started and using it for college.
Definitely. So let's say somebody has started saving something, and maybe they're a few years away from college. I understand that there's some strategies that can be used so that they have a better chance of their kids receiving financial aid when they actually go to college. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Yes, that's absolutely correct. One of the strategies and advice that we give is making sure that you pay attention to where your assets are in right now, or what accounts you have, because there is what you call reportable assets or includable assets, reportable on FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student aid. So what we suggest is we try to move those reportable assets into the non-reportable or non-includable assets, as you can call it. And some of those strategies involve, obviously 529 educational plans. Actually, that's a reportable asset, but it's tax advantaged as well for education purposes. But the non-reportable ones would be really utilizing cash value in life insurance products. And the Roth, IRAs, those are tax advantage as well. So there's different kinds of strategies that we can utilize. So like you mentioned, Glenn, it's best to really sit down with a financial professional and see how you can best situate your accounts to take advantage of those financial aids and grants.
So my sense is that, historically, when people go to plan for college, a lot of times we imagine that financial aid is for the people who should need it the most, that are poorer, that don't have access, and that the wealthy don't take advantage of these things. But like anything, like taxes, there are ways to be able to plan ahead and be able to take advantage of benefits that are out there, even if you wouldn't normally qualify. And if you get ahead of it and plan far enough ahead, then there are ways to be able to take advantage of those things and really provide more value for your kids. Is that right?
That is correct. Basically, keep in mind the financial aid, scholarships, and grants. There's really two different kinds. That's pool of money available for college or higher education. There's the financial needs-based, which is obviously based on income and assets. And there's a merit-based as well, pool of money for scholarships and grants. So you could be wealthy and, have a lot of income and be homeowners, but still be able to qualify for those merit-based. granting that the student, again, is prepared, works hard and diligently with, for example, one of the college coaches that we have, they definitely guide them on how they can make themselves, really be in a leadership position, or any community involvement. Those are the extracurricular activities that some universities look at, aside from being just having good grades, to be eligible for those kinds of grants.
So when someone applies for the FAFSA, their parents' assets are counted in their application until what age?
For the kids applying, you mean?
Right.
So
or I guess the better question would be, at what age do they not have to worry about anything that their parents have, their parents' income or their parents' assets, to be able to kind of stand on their own 2 feet?
So yeah, usually that would be when they're no longer living with the parents, and probably in their mid-20s. They have, some kind of income to show that they can support themselves. That's the time they can really claim that they're independent and not really relying on parents' income and assets.
So, it's safe to say, I think, that regardless of the situation, whether it's a child that wants to be able to qualify for, federal aid because they're not being supported by their parents, or whether it's a parent that wants to plan ahead, that there are solutions that are out there to be able to help.
Definitely correct. Yes. So there's a lot of misconceptions about college planning and, how your eligibility for financial aid or scholarships and grants. Some people, they think, just because they own a home and they make $75,000 a year, they're automatically disqualified. It's not correct. There are many, many ways. There's actually, a couple of $1 billion in free monies available. The issue or the challenge that I found out while I was getting certified for the college planning is there's not one place, not online, not one resource that people can go to and have, put their profile in, and everything will be given to you to apply. You basically need to have time and resources to research all of those, and that's the value of having a college coach, which who have more than 20 years of experience in the U.S. college admissions.
Perfect. Desiree, thank you for joining us. This is Remember Me. We'll see you next week and talking about college planning. Next week we'll be talking about leaving a legacy, and thanks for joining us.